Welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back. It's been a little bit of time, but nonetheless, here we are. We're finally ready to review the Norwegian Luna. Better late than never. We were actually on one of the first sailings of it, and just life got in the way for all three of us, and it's been quite the trial to get us all together to do one. But here we are today. Just as a reminder, thank you all to those who are here in the chat live here on YouTube. Of course, because this is a podcast, we don't respond to all of the chats, but we appreciate you guys being here, and we do see your chat. So thank you guys very much, and I hope you guys enjoy today's podcast. But of course, as we get into things, we've got Dimitri and Caleb here with us this afternoon. What's going on, boys?
Yo.
Been a minute.
It has been a minute, yes.
Minute.
We've been trying to schedule this since mid-April. It is almost August.
Yes, exactly. So
It's a little concerning.
Here we are, nonetheless. Better late than never. And yeah, so just to kind of recap everything and give the perspective of everything, we sailed on, this was the second full 7-night sailing on the Norwegian Luna. So this was pretty early on in April, or mid-April, I guess, but very early on when Luna debuted. But again, life got in the way. So this was a Eastern Caribbean sailing to St. Thomas, Tortola, Puerto Plata, and Great Stirrup Key. Blanking on the name there. My cat's kind of distracting me a little bit in my lap. But Great Stirrup Key, the private island. So always really fun time. And of course, this was actually, at least in my opinion, one of my favorite cruises of all time. So I do think this is going to review quite well, but I'm excited to see kind of what you guys think as well.
Very well.
Spoiler alert, same opinion.
Yes. And to kind of break it down into our structure of things here on the podcast as well, or on these review podcasts as well, is that we break it down into 10 categories, 10 points apiece, and we give a score out of 100. We have not had anything get into the 90s. That's not because we don't, we're picky or anything like that. It's just the way we structure things. A 90 is extremely impressive. So an 80, anything from 80 to a 90 is usually very, very good. Anything below in like the 70 range is pretty average, and anything below that, then meh. But we haven't had anything actually in the 70s or lower yet, which is always fantastic. But I think our highest score right now is the Norwegian Aqua at an 84, and that's been our best review so far. And a lot of good things came from that review too. So keep that in mind when we get the final score, as just the way we structure things makes it a little bit tough to get very, very high scores in the 90s. But if we get that today, then that'll be a first, and that would be great.
Good chance. There's a good chance.
There is a good chance.
Yes. So the 10 categories: app/check-in, then the actual embarkation check-in, so checking in through the app and just the app itself. And then the second category is the embarkation check-in process. Service, when it comes to food, just the room steward, all that type of thing, just all the service throughout the ship. Then, of course, the actual food itself. Was the food any good? Layout, condition of the ship. The ship was brand new. It was like 2 weeks old, so it was pretty good. Activities and entertainment, the ports, the room itself, ship spotting, which is kind of our little nerdy point in there to kind of say, okay, yeah, it was really cool to see these ships and all that. And then, of course, the debarkation process as well. So those are our 10 categories, and we'll jump right into our first one, being the app itself.
I had no issue. I mean, again, if you've watched these podcasts before, it's very well known the Royal Caribbean app is the top of the food chain with
Yes.
app experience. But the Norwegian app did its job. It did it good. I mean, the Freestyle Daily was amazing on it. It's not Royal Caribbean, but it did its job really well, in my opinion.
Yes, and I apologize for if there's like any clicking in the background. That was my cat. You can hear her scratching the arm of the chair. But yes, so yeah, I agree. The Royal Caribbean app is kind of like the gold standard when it comes to apps. Of course, the app is not necessarily essential to your your cruise experience, but of course making your check-in process a lot easier. And of course, just like random things throughout the ship. Sometimes, like with Royal Caribbean, you can make reservations through there. You can do food reservations or purchase packages, things like
I'd
that.
say it's pretty important, though. I still
It-
think Royal
it-
Caribbean's the best.
yes, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think it's not essential, but it definitely a good app can make or break an experience or make life a lot easier while you're on board. That's for sure.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because you goofy goobers like to cruise a lot. I haven't been on a Royal Caribbean cruise in like maybe a year or two. Is the messaging, because a lot of people ask, I want to go on the cruise, but I don't want to buy a Wi-Fi. Can you still like do the on-ship messaging on Royal Caribbean, or do you have to pay like the $6 a day? 'Cause I feel like
I
that's
think
part
it's
of the app.
I think it's free now.
It was free
Is
for a
it?
long time. It was free
It
for a
is
Okay.
long
free.
time. I want to say if it wasn't Roy, somebody had started recently charging like 50 cents to use it a day or something like that.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, overall,
I know that's
I
all like baked into the app. Um, so I just wasn't sure. And then I also wish you could make reservations. Norwegian, why can't they make reservations to the show? Why can't I make reservations for dinner? Like these are like simple things that you'd think.
absolutely.
And then why do I have to go to? I get it. The screens are helpful by the elevators, but like I just want to book my tender tickets on my phone. I don't want to have to go to the screen and do that.
Right, exactly. And that's kind
Yeah.
of one of the points I was going to bring up here with the app itself is that I think, and just to quickly circle back, actually, now that I've got it pulled up, but as far as charging for the app or chatting through the app, Norwegian Cruise Line charges a paid chat pass from either $2.99 to $9.99 per day on the ship,
Okay.
depending on the ship. So
Depending
that
on the
should be
ship, that's weird.
yeah, it is weird. That's what
How
Google
about Royal
AI says
Caribbean?
it
Is Royal
is.
Caribbean free? Did you check that?
Royal Caribbean is free. Carnival is $5 per person for the whole trip.
Mm.
So I will kind of zonk that on Norwegian there. That's just a basic service that should be
Yeah.
free and included
Right.
in the
I'll
app.
give that a Radies Ride Zonk
Radies Ride
on
zonk.
on the app. It's fine. It
Yes.
worked. Sure. Could I
Right.
do more? It's fine.
Exactly. The app did its job. We were able to check in through the app. It, didn't have any issues uploading our documents. So the important parts of the app, of course, worked, functioned properly. But then, of course, like when it came to like the extras of like quality of life improvements, like looking at menus, making
Oh
reservations,
yeah, you can't
and
look at the menus. Yep, double zonk.
Mhm.
yes, so like making reservations, looking at menus, even I think the activities you couldn't really see on there. It was always
You could see the freestyle daily.
oh, you could, okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yeah,
Yeah.
you
say
could.
because I know that was on the kiosks as well out in the elevator banks. That's the big thing is those features when it comes to the making reservations for food, entertainment, all of that. You can't do it through the app, which I feel like is again, that's just a basic feature to have is to do that. And of course the menus as well, but all of that you could look at through the kiosks, the little big screens outside of the elevator banks. So you could do it there, but I feel like it would just be a little bit easier and nicer to have it right there on your phone through the app.
Mm-hmm.
Not the end of the world though.
Again, we live in the world with the Royal Caribbean app. That's the unfortunate thing.
Yes.
They are
It's
way too good.
first world problems.
Okay.
Yep.
But overall, the
mean-
app, they did, it looked like they revamped the app recently. Like prior to our cruise for sure, but they had revamped the app and it definitely was a lot better than it used to be as well. And it definitely felt a little bit more intuitive, a lot better than it was in the past. So
Like online check-in wasn't a problem for me on Luna. I mean, the online check-in I had
exactly.
for Star was a nightmare. I don't know why.
That is
So it
weird.
worked. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall, I think I would probably give the app maybe an 8 out of 10. I'd lean maybe towards a 7 just for the fact the charging to chat, I feel like I would knock a point off of it though. So
Yeah.
what do we
I'd
all
agree.
feel?
I'm either an 8 or a 7 on that one. Dimitri, you pick.
I'll go 7 because
7.
a zonk for no menus, a zonk for having to pay, and a zonk for not having to do the tender tickets on.
Oh, the tender
app.
tickets.
Zonk.
Yes,
So that's a
those
zonk.
are
Triple
Yeah,
zonk.
7.
very,
So
very
3 points
important.
gone.
Although it's not often anymore, I feel like that they have to use the tender tickets. I know right now they're still working on finishing up the pier, I believe, or at least
I mean,
for
they
our
still go to
case.
Grand Cayman and they still go to,
Right.
Santorini, and these
Right.
others, Belize and stuff. I mean, what ships out of Galveston go to Belize every week?
Right, exactly. So in that scenario, yeah, I think especially the tender tickets should be done through the app, or at least available to do through the app. It would make a lot more sense for sure. So there's a lot of things that
Yeah.
the app is good, it works. There's room for improvement. So we'll give it a 7.
I agree.
Embarkation day, check-in.
I got to ride a train in the morning, so that's like plus 10 points right there.
Yes, we did take the Bright Line down from MCO Airport down to the Miami station for the Bright Line. The Bright Line itself, always really fun, really easy, makes life a lot easier than driving 4 hours from Orlando to Miami and not having to deal with all the traffic. Although, speaking of traffic, we ran into the usual suspect in Miami, which is the traffic. Brutal. That
Yeah.
traffic. So for reference, it feels like we're complaining a lot right now, and it's actually a really, really good cruise. So I feel like we are complaining a lot for how good this actually was. But the Brightline station is what, maybe 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most away from the cruise terminals. It took us almost an hour. It was an 8-ship day, or a 7-ship day, or an 8-ship day that day. There's a lot of ships there, a lot of cars, a lot of
full
people.
house.
Exactly. So
we got 2 ships that are over like 200,000 gross registered tons there as well. Big boys. It was a big boy kind of day.
It was World America, Icon, Luna, Encore, Pearl, Horizon, Zuiderdam was there, and so it was a busy day. So there's a lot of passengers, so it makes sense of why it was a little bit busy or a lot of traffic, but at the same time, like, the traffic was pretty brutal for something that was, a 15-minute drive turned into close to an hour.
It was worse for me on Aqua a couple weeks before. Miami is going under construction, growing pains, and
right.
Oh well.
One little thing goes wrong in Miami, and it just screws up the whole day. And that's just how it is in Miami.
It was my first cruise out of Miami, so I didn't know what to expect. But for having 8 ships, like 8 big ships, I think the traffic was like, it kind of made sense.
Expected.
If that makes sense.
That's not how it usually is.
Yeah, it's usually better. I feel like when there are 8 or more ships, because I think the new capacity once Terminal G opens is going to be close to like 11 ships or something like that, which is insane to think about. But you kind of have to have in your head, like, okay, there are a lot of ships here this particular day. I would definitely suggest doing the research before your cruise, see how many ships are going to be there that particular day, and then kind of plan accordingly. Of course, 8 ships wasn't too bad, but of course expected to be really bad, or like really bad with the traffic. But there's also going to be like 2 ship days where you just walk right up. I mean, that's how it was on Seaside just a month later. We kind of just walk right up. So it depends on the day, really. And again, yeah, like Dimitri said, growing pains with the road systems are all under construction. So it just kind of depends. Some days are better than others.
And that include the embarkation includes like getting on the ship, right? Like the whole terminal experience.
Right. So I'm not necessarily going to factor that in because that's not in Norwegian's control. That's not so.
Yeah.
There's no reason to rate that for the cruise itself, for the ship itself, if that has nothing to do with the actual ship. But I did want to at least preface that because that is part of the embarkation day process. But the embarkation day check-in, we went through the Terminal B, which is, of course, the new pretty terminal that they built several years ago, the Pearl of Miami.
Gorgeous.
Very pretty terminal. That was the first time for all of... no, not Dimitri. I think Dimitri did that on Aqua.
I was a couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. But...
I like how, I mean, after the whole, like, check-in and security, there's, like, a whole, like, mural through all of Norwegian ships' history and all that. So cool. I loved it.
I love that. Yeah, that was really cool. They have, like, models from like the SS Norway, the Sunward, all the way up to, of course, the Viva, Prima or Viva, which is what the new ship was at the time of that terminal being built. So that was really cool. I do like it in that aspect, and of course, a lot of natural light in there as well. Just
A
given that
lot.
it's a giant glass, terminal there, but very pretty terminal. The terminal itself is very easy, efficient.
Efficient.
Right, kind of referencing the app. The app worked when it needed to. The way we could scan our barcodes that were in the app, we were able to scan them in the terminal, go right through. Security was a breeze, no issues in security. And then, of course, just check-in was just, all right, scan your barcode. Yep, that's you. Let me see your passport. Scan the passport. You're good to go, buddy. So,
It was one of the
overall,
smoothest terminal experiences I've ever had. It was amazing.
absolutely. Yeah, I think overall, especially with the technology these days and the efficiency of the apps and all that, again, if you, a good working app can go a long way, and that's kind of a example of that, because if we were all just fighting through old computer systems or carrying around pieces of paper, it can get messy. So with a ship like that,
to emphasize how good the terminal was, I didn't get a lot of time to like actually take pictures of the terminal. We were basically rushed right on. It was amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Which is a good thing.
And the fact that they still give you your key cards in the terminal, and it was still quick.
It was still quick.
Because
that is weird.
Extra...
it usually slows you down.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was pretty quick. But that is one thing. Only NCL does that.
I like it though.
Does Princess? Yeah. I thought Princess does it too.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
I don't follow Princess enough to figure that out. But actually, but yeah, I know Norwegian's one of the only few that actually will give you the cards in the terminal, which I really have no opinions. I mean, I don't really mind, because
I don't care.
The other, I was going to say, it makes no difference, because the other cruise lines that don't give you the keys in the terminal, you just use your barcode on your phone, on your app or whatever you have, and you use that for like an hour and a half, and then your room opens up. So
yep,
not really a big deal. Adds like maybe an extra minute or two of time to embarkation, but in our case, it really didn't make any difference at all. So but for the embarkation check-in, what are we thinking on the score here, boys?
I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10, only because I hate having to drive down to Miami and the traffic sucks. But that's not Norwegian's fault. But just like...
I was going to say the traffic...
I hate going down to Miami.
Yeah, I was going to say I don't want to like factor the traffic into it, because it's something that's out of Norwegian's control, but I definitely agree. I think like a 9, or I mean, there was no issues, at least in my opinion. So I would be okay with a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caleb, it's up to you.
I'd say 9.
9? Okay, we'll give it a 9.
I'm not gonna glaze. I'm gonna be critical. Yeah, 9. I can't.
Yeah.
Don't worry, the glaze is about to come up. I promise.
But a 9 is a good score on that, just because there's really nothing to complain about. There's nothing that they really could have improved on. Everything went as it should.
Yeah.
Yep.
So moving on to the service, this includes bars, to the room steward, to restaurants, to just random crew on board the ship. So everything as far as the service. I thought our room guy was pretty slow, but the rest of the service I would borderline give a 10 out of 10, but the room guy was quite slow.
Yeah.
I think, and the room guy did really good. It's just,
yes, he did.
So you will never know when he was going to clean the room. You never knew.
There was like 2 or 3 days it was 11 a.m. There was other days it was 4 p.m. There was just no consistency with it, which is fine. It's a brand new ship, so I'll give him that much.
Yeah.
And again, it's the room guy. The only time that really kind of like made a difference is when we were coming back after the port, and we were like, oh, okay, like time to shower, get cleaned up. That way we don't smell so bad, and the room still hadn't been made up, so we don't have clean towels. So like that definitely made a bit of a difference there. But again, new ship, so we'll give them a little bit of leeway on that.
I think a 9 out of 10 to be fair. I mean, I think everything about the service was amazing. I think everyone was fantastic.
Yeah.
You know,
Dimitri and I were very, very friendly with the bartenders throughout that week. They got to know us pretty well.
Yes, we were.
We got a lot of Cokes on the ice, Cokes on the rock.
The baby had some Coca-Colas, and Dimitri and I had our big boy drinks. But the bar service was always very quick, very easy. Even on a crowded night or anything like that, like they would still, I don't know if it was because we were there so much or what, but they would definitely see us and they'd come right up to us and grab us a drink or make the drink for us. So they were all very friendly. The food service was very good. We went to the locals several times. Food's of course our next category, but as far as the service, they were very attentive, very quick. I didn't really have any issues as far as speed with any of the restaurants on board either. So
I agree. I think it was fantastic. I mean, some of the best service I've ever had on a cruise, honestly. It felt very personal in a way. The service was very personal.
Yeah, and you don't get that on a lot of new ships and a lot of big ships.
You don't.
Either.
Especially the gentleman that walked out, like we're walking around the boardwalk late at night and the gentleman had noticed us from before.
Yeah.
Continued his conversation and then we talked for another like 20 minutes or so about personal stuff, yada yada. You don't get that a lot. So
No.
Yeah, I thought it was fine. I mean, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, service has gone downhill," yada yada yada. I agree, it has, but like it's all hit or miss nowadays. I mean, like if you think about it, what before COVID they used to clean your room twice, and now it's just once, and it's just like. But no, I had no issues. Everybody was nice. Everyone was attentive. I didn't have any issues. Crew was good. I didn't really care for the cruise director. Maybe I could throw that into what do you call it? The service category, because he was the assistant one on Aqua a couple weeks before. I didn't care for him. But oh well, personal preference.
We'll throw that into entertainment here, a couple categories.
Okay, entertainment.
But yes, I think he was cool. Didn't have any issue with him, but at the same time, he wasn't like the most exciting cruise director in the world. But
yeah.
But yeah, like to your point though, as far as like the kind of like the smaller vibe almost that you were referencing, that you don't get a lot on the new ships when it comes to service and just things like that. I think that's where the Prima class really shines. Is that they're not too big of ships, and of course everybody, a lot of people are like, oh, we want small ships, we want smaller ships, and that's what Norwegian got. Of course, there's a little bit of growing pains with Prima and Viva, but I think they've definitely nailed it with Aqua and Luna. Although I think they've also kind of fixed some of those growing pains on Prima and Viva as well. But I think that is one of the things you don't get that on new ships.
No.
Especially new ships, because all the new ships are so big, but these ships are mid-range kind of in size.
I so badly want to give service 10 out of 10, but it's just the room guy. That's it. And he wasn't bad. He was not bad. He was just slow.
If the room guy was a little bit more consistent with his times, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Yep.
But
a strong
consistency
9,
is all I really cared about. Again, I don't care what time. As long as I can expect when he was going to show up, that's cool. Even if he showed up at 4:00 every day. But yeah, again, the couple days at 11 a.m., couple days at 4 p.m., random, brand new ship. So he's probably got a lot going on too. So it makes sense. But other than that, I mean, again, the service was fantastic from the restaurants to the bars to just every crew member. I don't think we had to go to guest services at all at any point throughout the cruise.
Nope.
But yeah, just all the crew members were just super friendly. They got to know you really well. And again, that doesn't happen very often on new ships. You go on an Oasis, you go on an Oasis class ship or you go on an Icon class ship, you can go up to the same bartender 10 times a day and he's still not going to know who you are by the end of the week. With these Prima class ships or with these Norwegian ships, they're definitely a little bit more on the friendly service side and things like that. And, they'll definitely get to know you on a more personal basis. I mean, there's a few times, when the bars are busy, the bartenders would come up to us and, make sure we were taken care of really quickly. But like when they were slower, they'd sit and chat with us sometimes as they like made the drink and just this and that. So, I thought overall the service is fantastic. So yes, we will give it a 9 out of 10.
That's fine. I'll do a 9.
Yep.
And so to kind of segue off of the service, the food. The food service itself was very good as far as speed, but how is the food itself? At least in my opinion, the free food, well, actually, Norwegian in general has some of the best food, especially when it comes to the free options and especially the specialties. But let's hear it.
So I'm actually going to reference back to what Dimitri told me when I first went on Norwegian Joy. Norwegian is a cruise line that doesn't hold your hand with food. They don't like say, oh, here's chicken tenders, here's all of this. They kind of give you food that, is something that you don't try all the time at home, because I eat chicken tenders all the time. And while there was none on Luna, the food on Luna and Norwegian as a whole is some of the best you'll get with that kind of category of a cruise line. I mean, I think it's fantastic. I loved all of the food. The main dining room food was fantastic. The buffet was great. The local was amazing as always. And the specialty was incredible, and that's included with your free at sea thing, which is insane.
Yes, and we'll dive into the free at sea here in a second as well, because I feel like that's very important as well.
Yeah.
But what did you think, Dimitri?
I'm not a picky eater. I enjoy, Norwegian food I think is better than a Royal at the minute, but then, you read all these reviews and people are like, oh, food sucks, food sucks. I know it's a very subjective category. Sure, would I have liked, like you said, Caleb, for there to be chicken tenders? I just want chocolate chip cookies or like a regular muffin in the morning. I don't want a butterscotch grapefruit muffin. Like I just want like a normal
and the
muffin.
hash browns.
And hash browns, right.
They weren't on Norwegian Star either.
No.
The menus and the options were pretty much the same as Aqua from a few weeks earlier, so at least it's consistent. But I don't know, maybe, the buffet is small. I feel like with a bigger buffet, you could have more variety. Sure, that's what the thing downstairs is, the little food, what is it called? I'm going blank.
Indulge,
food hall.
And layout is one of our next category as well, and that's definitely going to be a key point there. Is just like the size of the buffet as well, because that's definitely one of the pain points for the Prima class.
Yeah, but I like the food. I didn't really have any issues with it, but I'd give it an 8 out of 10 just because I want like consistency, but then I also want variety, which is hard to do with that class of ship with your space constraints. But like main dining room was good. Asuki's always good. Yeah. The steak is always good at, what do you call it, Cagney's. I don't really have any complaints. Pizza good. I don't care for the indulge food hall concept, as cool as it is. Just do like dedicated, quick sprinkle it around the ship, spread people out instead of like all in one place, and then have some of those redundancies in the buffet.
Yes, I agree. I think the food itself, and that's kind of one of my biggest points whenever I'm talking about Norwegian to somebody, and especially somebody that's, interested in Norwegian for the first time, is, in my opinion, Norwegian has some of the best free food. And of course, there's a lot of people that'll say, oh, it's not that good. And I think that's, like you said, subjective to what you want, what you like. And of course, it just varies from ship to ship. I always like to reference this because it's a prime example of just like every week is different. There was a ship I sailed on back in 2022. I sailed on in August. The food was fantastic. The service was really good. The food was great. Sailed on in September. Horrible. Same ship, 3 weeks later, completely different vibe. So it can change that quickly. So I always like to take that in consideration when people, and like, when people ask like, oh, I hear the food is bad. I'm like, it's subjective, and it also varies from week to week. But overall, I think, at least in my opinion, I've found Norwegian to be very consistent with how good their food is as far as quality. The options are good, but there could be more, just like Dimitri said. I think, Not that I'm gonna be like, oh, I want chicken tenders, but like, you know, at the same time, like, yes, chicken tenders would be nice. I do wonder where the hash browns are and the breakfast in the morning. The made to order omelets though, 10 out of 10.
Oh my
Always really
gosh,
good.
yeah.
Norwegian makes a good omelet. But you know, where are
I
the
know
hash
this is
browns in the
across
mornings?
all
Where are
cruise lines.
the
I'm not gonna, what do you call it, interrupt you. But why are we closing at like 9 o'clock? Why doesn't
I agree with that.
something stay open late?
Like at least a
Mhm.
portion of the buffet.
Right, like Sorrento's is always open. Go and make something else stay open longer. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Like, you know, I would like some, you know, the hash browns would be good to have every morning. That's one of my favorite things to get is usually a croissant, hash brown, and a ham and cheese omelet. That's like my favorite breakfast
Mhm.
on a cruise. You know, I can of course get the croissant. I can get the made to ready or made to order omelet, all that. And I know I can see you laughing at Belle climbing all over me. Um, but you know, and also like you mentioned, like a just like a basic chocolate chip muffin. Why does it have to be some like grapefruit random,
Yeah.
you know, thing, you know, citrus muffin, whatever it is. Like, just give us basic options as well.
Right.
So I like the variety. I like the options, but I think they could use more basics. I think, you know, not too
I
much.
will
I'm not
say,
asking for a kiddie menu inside of a all you can eat buffet, but at the same time, like maybe some just like regular stuff.
bonus points. I gotta say this. There was like 2 ice cream stands on that ship, and they were amazing.
Of course.
One was on like the what's it called? The Oceanfront Boulevard or whatever it's called.
Ocean
Mhm.
The
Boulevard.
Yeah,
Oh,
Ocean
Lord, yeah.
Boulevard. And there's one at the buffet, and they were so evenly placed out. I always had an ice cream in my hand, so I think that gives me a good score.
He really did have an ice cream in his hand at all times.
It was amazing.
He's not joking.
I'm not joking. Watch the vlogs.
But yeah, so I think the food itself was really good though. And that's only the free food. The specialty food always fantastic. We went
Hmm.
to Cagney's and Hasuki this cruise, which was really good. Cagney's is of course the steakhouse, and Hasuki being the hibachi restaurant. So, and then kind of looping it into the free at sea program. So we had the free at sea, which is kind of they kind of try to make it the basic package that loops in your drink package, the night of specialty dining, the Wi-Fi, or at least a limited amount of Wi-Fi, and a shore excursion credit. So usually they kind of like try to inadvertently loop that into the price of your cruise, which is fantastic. I don't, because usually it's a some sort of discount through there, but I never mind paying, you know, a little bit more if they're going to loop in a free night at a steakhouse.
Yep.
But their specialty dining is, at least in my opinion, there's not really any question. MSC is a close second, but I think there is no question that NCL has the best specialty dining.
Hmm.
Yep.
Cagney's was a 10 out of 10. We went to Cagney's. That's what we used our one free night of specialty dining, and then of course we paid for our night at Hasuki. So
We, I,
oh yeah, he did, because that's another bonus though, is that so Dimitri is a higher status. What are you, platinum, sapphire,
Platinum, yeah.
something like that? He's almost like a mid status on NCL, and the higher status you are with NCL, you actually do get some free night. You get a lot of good perks, including free nights at specialty dining. So Dimitri and I
I
actually
took
are
Brandon to
night.
dinner.
Yeah, Dimitri took me to dinner one night, and Caleb had to pay. Caleb had to pay for
used to
himself,
it. Used to it, guys.
um, but yeah, I think the specialty dining, the options are very good. A lot of
Hmm.
complaints that I see about Norwegian is that they quote unquote nickel and dime, and I think it's because of how
It's the
many
farthest from the
options.
truth, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I think. Are there a lot of specialty dining restaurants? Absolutely, but they loop in and give you more freebies when it comes to stuff like that than anybody else.
Yep.
You don't get that with Royal Caribbean. They pretty much say, all right, yep, your cruise fare is this much. Oh, if you want to do the specialty dining, all right, that's going to be another 20, 30, 40, $50 plus like per person per night. Whereas Norwegian, it's like, oh, are you Sapphire? You're gonna get a night of specialty dining, but of course you booked free at sea, so you get a second night. So
Mhm.
even though there's so many different restaurants, it's like, oh my gosh, like all these restaurants here on board the ship, you have to pay for. It's like, well, yes, but you have 2 nights that are completely free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and of course, just if it also doesn't mean you aren't allowed to go to the main restaurant either. Hudson's was fantastic. We didn't go to the
Oh my
Commodore
God,
room,
it's
but
fantastic.
Hudson's was fantastic. That's the main dining room, or one of the two. The Commodore room was the other one, and it was
Mhm.
fantastic. I never had any complaints. The food was always very good in the Hudson's restaurant. I think we went there twice, 3 times throughout the week,
Bruschetta.
Can't remember.
2 or
The
3 times.
bruschetta.
Yeah, Caleb goes crazy for
So
that
good.
bruschetta.
Oh, so good.
So yeah, overall the food is fantastic on the ship. So I think the general
That'll be fun.
consensus is a 9 or a 10.
I would like to do a 10, but if y'all said 9, I would understand.
Yeah, I'd go like 8 or 9.
Okay, we'll meet in the middle and do 9.
We'll go 9, and I think the only reason I personally would give it a 9 is because I do, like I said, I think there could be more basic options, but the food itself was fantastic. But I think more basic options would be nice.
Yep.
Mhm.
So food gets a 9. Layout and condition. The condition part of this kind of doesn't really apply because the ship
Condition was terrible.
The ship was like 3 weeks old at the time, so yeah, it was in fantastic shape. It looked like a brand new ship. It smelled like a brand new ship. So everything worked properly. It wasn't like some ships where it's like, oh yeah, the big new attraction, it's not ready yet, or oh, it's not working. So the Aqua Coaster was fantastic. That was super cool. And
Mhm.
that always worked. There was never any times where it was like, oh, it's down, blah blah blah, it's
Yeah, no.
broken, things like that. Like with North Star on the Quantum class, like those seem to break down a lot. The roller coaster on Carnival seemed to break down a lot at first. So like
And
these
how
work
about
consistently.
4 out of 6 out of the water slides on Icon and Star being broken for the past 8 months?
I heard about that.
Sorry.
I can't believe they're still down.
Are they still down?
On both
Apparently.
ships.
Both
Only
ships.
1 or 2 work per week.
Insane. You're gonna have a giant water park like that on, that's the
It's
selling
like the
point for those
biggest
Icon
selling
ships.
feature.
Yeah.
And then
Wow.
Yeah. Everything works.
Legend that better be open.
I know. But yeah, everything worked. Everything was really cool. The ship had plenty of fun activities and a lot of like, more adventurous and physical activities. But it was a healthy balance between that and like just the laid back vibes that you would get on the smaller ship. There was a really, really nice balance between everything. And if you wanted to escape one, if you wanted just to focus on like the physical activities, you could do that, or you can completely escape that and not even have to worry about it, not even know it's there by going to other areas of the ship.
To kind of rapid fire in a way, I mean, the ship's layout was fantastic instead of 2 areas. I mean, Ocean Boulevard was great. The hallways on the ship, like the hallway going into Indole, was just huge, like just massive hallways, like bigger hallways than you'll see on other ships, and
much wider than Prima.
The pool deck was great. The observation lounge was great. The like Luna play area under the slides was great. I mean, everything about the ship was great. The atrium was great. I will say the only 2 issues I have with the layout, and they kind of can be fixed, is obviously the buffet, but they kind of did open up that other restaurant next to it, which kind of flowed more seating, which was really nice. And I think the biggest thing that hurts the premium class is Vibe Beach Club, easily.
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't ruin our experience, but you could definitely tell it took up a lot of deck space, a lot more than it should. But if those are the only two issues, it's one of the best layouts for a ship I've ever been on.
I can 100% agree on that. I think Vibe, if they moved, because if you very similar concepts of ships, the Seaside class from MSC, and Caleb, if you're watching the video portion of this, Caleb's kind of pointing it to the back of the ship, but it's like that giant main pool deck in the back of the Seaside class ships from MSC. It's like if you block that off completely, that's kind of how it feels like on that upper deck. Although I think they make up for it with how big the area is down below on Ocean Boulevard.
It's incredible.
I will make the trade-off there, so I won't really criticize it too much in that aspect, because that's something that MSC does not do with their ship, and with that class, is that there's nothing down there. It's just chairs.
Yeah.
So, whereas like the Prima class, at least for Luna, has the infinity pools, hot tubs, bars, all sorts of stuff out there. The seating for their specialty restaurants, all of that. But if they were to take Vibe, because it is very popular, so I think it justifies the deck space. But I think if they moved it up to the top and the front where that kid's like splash pad is, I think it would do really well up there. And then if you open up that back portion, a little bit of a kid's area, but also just like a second main pool, I think that would like open up the ship a lot further, in my opinion.
100% agree. 100%.
It feels like sometimes you were just like blocked off from seeing half of the ship sometimes.
I can't emphasize enough. If those are the only two issues, the layout is insane. I loved it. It's my favorite layout for a ship, I think, of all time, which is insane.
Yeah. The buffet could be bigger. I think the buffet would really, really benefit from being extended to both sides. The Prima class on all four of them so far, I haven't seen any differences in the deck plans for Aura. We're going on that, by the way, so stay tuned. But for Aura, or I guess all four of the current ones at least, is that the buffet is kind of where you would typically find it. It's on the back of the ship, up at the top, right outside of the pool deck. But on the Prima class, it goes down one side, and that's it. And the second side is going to be specialty dining. Now, I think it'd be fine if they took specialty dining and moved it to a different part of the ship. That would be completely fine. And extended the buffet over to the other side. It would be perfect. But overall, I did like that at least, we could grab our food. I still, it was crowded in there, but I never had a problem getting food.
Like I didn't wait a long time for food.
Exactly.
No.
I think that's the important part. It was cramped, but it was efficient. So it still worked. It was just cramped.
Yep.
But again, the specialty dining opened up for breakfast and lunch over on the other side. So you grab your food quick and easy and just walk across the hallway and sit down at the Thai restaurant or the Mediterranean place. So that, I thought it was really, I won't really knock it too much in that regard.
No.
I think, because as long as I got my food quick and easy and I had a place to sit, I'm fine. Just a little cramped. It's really all I had to, all I really have to say about that.
Agree.
I'll rapid fire since I know we're kind of coming up on time. Since I sailed on Viva, Aqua, and Luna. I'm not going to repeat it because I intend. Buffet needs to be fixed. That's unacceptable. The upgrades that they did from Viva to Aqua and Luna by moving the steakhouse, Hosuki, and the comedy club, sure, they made it bigger, they rearrange everything. Comedy club is still too small.
Yes, I do agree on that.
And going back to the reservation thing, I asked them, hey, you could make reservations before. Why not? They're like, well, we're trying it on a couple new ships, no reservations versus reservations. Or said we're just getting a feel for it. Whatever. Comedy club was too small. Buffet was too small. Sakatai needs to go on a deck above the observation lounge, and then you can add another restaurant up there. Pick something.
Put the Mediterranean restaurant up there as well, and then you open up that whole side for the actual buffet.
You open up everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Fantastic.
that's my biggest advice for Norwegian. If they ever make any mass modifications to
Hmm.
the Prima class, or if they're gonna do something similar to Aura, is like just open up, move those 2 specialty restaurants, and open up that whole buffet for that whole deck in the area. Because again, I got my food quick and easy. It was very efficient. We technically had places to sit, but it was just outside. It's just very cramped in there.
Yeah, and then
That's really the only issue.
about the vibe, why would they make that area smaller if they sell out every cruise? So I
That is the
understand
caveat to what I mentioned. Yes.
why,
Yeah.
but like I said, I don't know if they're moving it on Aura, but if you move it, like you said, to the front, open up the back, have another kids dedicated area. I know they're gonna have that on Aura with the super kids on the bow, and then the teenagers in the water park. Add another
Yes.
pool back there. Add more seats back there. But then I think you run into the issue where the buffet becomes a runway for people, and you have to
Mhm.
go through the buffet to get back there. Because like on the getaway class ships and Breakaway Plus, you could walk through the middle elevator bank
Mhm.
and avoid the buffet on each side.
Yes.
And even on other ships is how it is. So there's some trade-offs. So I wonder if that's why they haven't done that, because the ship is so narrow up there. You don't have room to walk down the middle there. Unless you
Yeah.
do, they did add that staircase by the buffet, which is very nice. You could go up and over.
Yes.
I guess that's not bad, but
Yeah. I would give it a 9, maybe lean towards an 8, because there definitely are some improvements to be made, but I think overall the layout of the ship was great. And I think, having done at least the tour, I know Dimitri sailed on Viva, but having done the tour of Prima, it seems I was able to tell a lot of really big changes were made, especially like Caleb mentioned, like the hallways were very, very wide compared to Prima. So I think a lot of necessary changes were made with Luna and with Aqua. So I think I do kind of want to lean towards a 9. But it's definitely not the perfect layout. But it definitely, at least for me, I liked it a lot. But I can
I
see
think
where a lot of people would probably say their pain points.
my favorite part about the layout, and I've never seen a cruise ship do this, was Ocean Boulevard.
Mhm.
You're so used to going on a cruise, going to the top of the ship if you want to go have a pool day, but like I'd wake up instead of going to like, deck 11 or whatever it is, I go to deck 8, which is
Mhm.
I think one of the coolest concepts ever. I think Ocean Boulevard like stole my heart. I loved it. It was amazing.
Yes. So layout and condition of the ship. 9?
9.
9?
I'm gonna go 8 because the comedy club is too small, the buffet is too small, and I would give it a 7, but I like the smaller ship because I've only
Mhm.
done Wonders. So all you super class ship people, at least I didn't have to walk 10 miles to
Yeah.
get to an elevator bank. So I'll keep it
Yes.
at an 8.
Okay.
But
I
those
could
are
put
my
it
two
a
zonks.
8.5. Split
Fantastic.
it
Sure.
down
That's
the
fine.
middle. Perfect.
Yep.
All right. We've got a little over 10 minutes and we've only made it about halfway through our categories here. So we're going to
Okay,
quickly go
super
Oh
quick.
through
boy.
activities and entertainment. Dimitri mentioned earlier the cruise director probably could have been up a little bit better, but I think overall, the activities, I thought there was a lot of activities. The nightlife was fantastic. Whoever complains about there not being nightlife on Norwegian isn't looking in the right place. We were
Mhm,
at something, doing something every single night of the cruise, and every single night it was a blast.
mhm.
Every single night it
Um,
was a blast.
for entertainment, Elton was one of the best shows I've ever seen on a cruise ship.
Yes, Caleb is a huge Elton John fan. Dimitri and I were kind of like, okay, we know of Elton John, but not really like massive fans. We don't listen to him all the time. So like, but even I, like, as somebody who's just kind of like, okay, yeah, like cool, like that was one of the better shows that I've ever seen on a ship. So I'll give
Agreed.
it that. That thing the
Yep.
first night, I'm not even gonna talk about what that show was the
Nope.
first night because I have no idea what that was, and it was really weird. So we're just not gonna include that. I don't even
Okay.
remember the name
Elton
of it,
Elton overrode it. It's
but
whatever.
Elton basically made up for that. But it was a random production show in the morning or in that first night of the
Mhm.
cruise. But as far as like the activities, again, the deck parties, there was a deck party going on just about every night of the ship, or every night of the cruise. There was always something going on. Comedy shows, the comedians could have been better. Again, the comedy club could have been a little bit larger as well. But I overall did like the comedy. Not the best comedians out there for
I was
our
gonna say it
particular week,
changes
but
week
those
to
change.
week.
Yeah, so you can't
So,
really. We're not going to kind of factor in the comedians that we had because again, it changes every week.
mhm,
So,
yeah.
but there was consistently comedy every single night. The deck parties were happening every single night. There was always some sort of fun activity going on every single night. And then again, the
Mhm.
production
We
show,
never stopped on that
Elton.
cruise.
No, we did not. We literally had to take midday naps because of how late we stayed out, because of how good the nightlife was, how much there was to do at night on those ships. So again, if you think there's nothing to do at night on a Norwegian cruise, you're not looking in the right place.
Nope. And the thing is
Nope.
that the activities were different than what I experienced a couple weeks earlier on Aqua,
Yes.
which I thought was interesting, which I didn't mind either way, but
Right.
I would give it a 10 out of 10 from sure the cruise director wasn't great. That's subjective. That can change week to week.
Right.
Elton. So good.
Yeah, the show was good. The dance party, I mean the nightclub, I mean the production in there was fantastic.
The white party was the most fun I've ever had at a deck party. Even though it was inside the nightclub, inside the Luna Theater, it wasn't like up on the top deck, but like that was the most fun night I have had on a cruise.
That was awesome.
I don't remember a whole lot, but the Snapchat memories are pretty awesome. But we had a really, really fun time that cruise. And again, the white party was just so much fun. Or the glow party, that's what it was.
Easiest 10 out of 10.
Glow party.
Easiest 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Or is the lunar eclipse party? Sorry.
Lunar eclipse party. Is that what it was called?
Yeah.
Okay, I remember they had there was Latin night, got a little saucy. They had an 80s night, 60s night. We had the Luna glow party. What was it?
What's my first rave was on Norwegian Luna. Look at that.
Caleb's a raver now.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
guys.
there's something last night. I want to say it was like 60s or 80s nights or something like that. The last night of the cruise, but every night was something different. It was always really, really fun.
10 easy.
So yeah, I think that was the easiest 10 that we could give out of most of our categories here. But moving on to the ports, I really enjoyed this itinerary. I think it was very diverse. Is it the same Eastern Caribbean itinerary just about every time? I think they could change it up, maybe like change one port here and there. But overall,
no,
the
they need to
port stops are
change it up
fantastic.
like yesterday.
Right.
I've been to Tortola, St. Thomas, and Great Stirrup Cay a gazillion times. Let's switch it up.
See, that was
I
my
like
first time to
Tortola.
Tortola.
Tortola is pretty. But if you're a repeat Norwegian cruiser, there's not much variety in their Eastern Caribbean itineraries. Period.
Yes. Like for me and Caleb, that was first time to Puerto Plata, first time to Tortola. I had been to St. Thomas plenty.
Great. Yeah.
Yes, and then Great Stirrup Cay. Great Stirrup Cay is a just absolute juggernaut in the making. I think that's going to be way better than Coco Cay right next door. You can,
Easy.
I'll die on that hill. Like there's going to be some Royal fans that probably aren't going to like that, but the water park looks insane. It's got a lazy river. It's probably going to be cheaper. Let's be completely honest on that front. And there's also more to do. There's more relaxation areas as well. There's so many options. Huge. I know. And the swim up bar and like the normal, just like the normal.
No more area free. You don't have to pay to go to the swim up bar.
I know actually you can at Royal, but it's just a massive, or it's like a very, very crowded pool and it's only one. And of course, if you want to go to the adults only area, then of course you got to pay for that. But I think the island of Great Stirrup Cay is getting there just because it's under construction. But once that construction is done,
it should be done like next month.
It should be, actually. I think it will be done next month. I think it was August or September. So it'll be done very, very soon after this podcast comes out. But I think that island is going to be miles better. At least in my opinion, it's going to be miles better than Coco. To put it from somebody that's been to Coco 12 plus times. And that's not even exaggerating.
To put it lightly on how much I love this itinerary, yes, I think they could switch it up a little bit. But to put it lightly, I booked almost the exact same cruise this December on Aqua, same itinerary. That's how much I loved it. Porta Plata was fantastic. St. Thomas was gorgeous. Tortola was gorgeous. Great Stirrup Cay is probably going to be the greatest private island ever made. Which when I go in December, I'm definitely going to the water park. It's like $50 when I go.
Yeah, they could change it up. I mean, yeah, 1 week instead of Tortola, go to St. Martin, or go to San Juan instead of St. Thomas,
or St. Kitts,
so
or something.
You can change it up here and there. That's no problem with that. But like the itinerary we had, at least in my opinion, beautiful islands, beautiful places. So like like Dimitri mentioned, repeat cruisers are going to end up going on that same exact itinerary 20 times. But like for me and Caleb, who switch it up, we go Royal, Carnival, Norwegian, MSC, like we do everybody. So like this was like a breath of fresh air for us. So I think the itinerary itself was fantastic. Right, only two sea days. 2 sea days. And you go all the way down to Tortola. That's not very common. That's not very common. Usually most cruise lines would have skipped Tortola to get an extra sea day going up to the private island.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, what would you give it, Brandon?
I would give it a 10. I get the argument for changing it up, and I agree with that. But the ports that we had themselves were very pretty islands. They weren't sketchy in any way, shape, or form. There were people like, grabbing us by the arm, like, "Hey, come ride my taxi," and this, and that. The islands were all beautiful. The lazy river in Dominican was really, really nice too. So overall, I think the ports themselves, yes, I think would be a 10 out of 10.
I will say
maybe a future suggestion is throw in, swap in Saint Martin or San Juan here or there occasionally, once a month, just to give a little bit of variety, because like Dimitri said, it can get very repetitive if you cruise Norwegian a lot.
I think one of the coolest things about that itinerary was that ship was always hauling, going somewhere. Like
it was moving.
The ship was like no matter where you were going, you were always hauling. Like when we were pulling into St. Thomas, we didn't dock till 10. We were still like cruising, getting in. It was so cool. I loved it.
So I know we both gave it 10s. Dimitri, would you say 9, 10?
I would say 9 for the Zong that they need to change up their itinerary.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I love the private island. I do agree it's better than Coco. I love Porta Plata because, I mean, like you said, it's safe. You're in the port area. You never have to walk outside of it.
Yeah.
And as for people with younger families, that's a big
very
bonus.
Very.
I know we kind of had sucky weather, but Tortola, beautiful. St. Thomas, beautiful. So.
Right. Okay. The room. I get roasted about this in my live streams all the time. The room, fantastic.
Loved it.
The room was very large. We had an inside cabin for perspective here. We had an inside cabin.
7 grown men were able to unpack for 7. 3 grown men were able to unpack for a 7-night cruise.
How many people were in your cabin? But yeah, no, I mean, that was it was funny because like I walked into the bathroom like, oh my gosh, this is like the largest bathroom I have ever seen on a cruise ship. And literally, I mean, most cruise ship cabins, if you've never been on a cruise before, most cruise ship cabins, if you stand there upright and you drop like the lid to your toothpaste on the floor, you're going to get a concussion from hitting the back. You're going to end up with something in where it doesn't belong with the door handle. And like and then you're going to end up falling through the shower. Like the cruise ship cabins are notoriously so small. This has got to be the largest one that I've ever had. The shower alone, again, this was for scientific purposes, but we fit all 3 of us inside the shower by itself. Like a single cruise ship shower, you barely can fit one decent sized person in there. So all of us fitting into one single shower was insane.
I didn't realize, so Dimitri pointed out, every time you get out of like a hot steamy shower, the mirror would never be fogged up.
You talk about attention to detail. That was crazy I didn't notice that.
Heated mirrors, yeah.
Something you will not notice, but it's crazy attention to detail, is that the mirror is like, what is it, heated to where the steam from the shower will not fog up. So every time you come out of the shower, you don't have a foggy mirror.
Incredible.
Very small detail. Nobody's going to notice that. Very few people are going to notice that. But it is a crazy attention to detail that made a big difference. I feel like, it's one of those just like wow, like they went out of their way to do that, and that was really cool.
And also the bunk bed was really comfy, even though I was dreading sleeping on a bunk bed for 7 days. It was actually very comfortable.
You're
And
probably
yeah,
the first person to sleep in that, to be honest.
you probably were.
I loved it. It was great. It was comfy.
Yeah. The room itself was so big. Even for an inside, sometimes the inside cabins are a little bit smaller than other categories, but this was a very, very large, and this was a standard inside cabin. Very, very
I
large.
loved it.
3 of us, three adults inside of a room can get really tight. And with this, for an entire week for 3 of us, 0 problems. So I thought the room was fantastic. And again, the size. And I think that's one of the big strong points of the Prima class is that they put in the larger rooms to reduce guest capacity, to focus more on comfort rather than capacity.
It was my favorite room I've ever had on a cruise ship, and I've had suites before. But I love that room. It was just so every square inch was utilized so well in that room. It was insane.
It utilized a lot of the furniture was able to kind of make room for like storage as well. Like the way the beds were set up, it made it just easy. Like, yeah, just throw the suitcase into there. Or just all sorts of stuff. So it was a very, very well designed cabin.
I'd give it a 10.
10.
10.
Yeah. Was it any different than on Aqua or Viva? I guess just kind of like out of curiosity.
My room on Aqua was the same interior room but flip-flopped. So like instead of the things being on the left, it was on the right.
Okay.
No difference. And then our room on Viva, my parents had a balcony. Those are all pretty much the same. But we had a handicap inside, so it was double the size. So I guess that's not fair.
Dear
That
Lord.
was an insane room. It was just huge. We didn't know what to do with ourselves. But yeah, no, the rooms are great.
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. All right. So we're down to our last 2 categories. Ship spotting, which is kind of us just being nerds, and then debark. So ship spotting, this is the ports, being able to view the ships in the ports, what ships that we were with, things like that. So not necessarily anything crazy into Norwegian's control, but something that we like to pay attention to because we're nerds.
Well, there's something that is in Norwegian's control, and that is no high glass. So I will give them bonus points for that.
Massive bonus points on that.
So when ship spotting on this cruise, I wasn't actually looking for, what ships are we going to see? I was more focused on, I want to see my ship, because that was when, Luna was like brand spanking new, the prettiest ship ever.
Yes.
Still is, I think. When we docked in Puerto Plata, pointing in, I got some incredible pictures. I got some good pictures at St. Thomas of Luna. It was just a matter of getting good pictures of Luna. It felt like this trip, and the ship spotting for our own ship was amazing.
Yeah. And like Dimitri said, I think there's a lot of good vantage points throughout the ship, and they had low glass, which made a huge difference. Again, that's one of the biggest things is like, does it make a huge difference at the end of the day? No. But at the same time, I don't want to be looking through a sea salt stained piece of glass on a cruise ship. I want to see the water. I don't want to be looking through a panel of glass. So being able to see out over the ship and actually being to view the water without looking through a panel of glass was a nice breath of fresh air as well. So the ship itself was really good for ship spotting. And I think also, I think we saw some pretty decent ships throughout the week. We saw Apex and Puerto Plata. Miami was crazy, of course. It was seven ships or so.
See, Encore followed us on that sea day. That was really cool.
That was really cool. So Encore followed us. Tortola, we had Caribbean Princess. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but it was cool seeing another ship there. St. Thomas was surprisingly empty. And then Great Strip Key, we got to see Icon and Explorer across the hall there.
I thought it was great.
So ship spotting, I think overall, it was really, really good. I really don't have any complaints other than, maybe if we had one other ship in St. Thomas. But again, that's not a Norwegian thing. So,
nope.
I was here to see Luna, so I was happy.
Right. So, 10s around the board?
Sure.
Yeah.
10s. Okay. Unless you guys think it was a 9.
No. 10. I like seeing Luna.
Okay. All right. Final category here is debark. Debarkation day, the worst day of the cruise. We have to get off. We have to go home, and nobody.
I would have
likes
stayed for another 7 days.
that was one of the first few cruises like in a long time where I've actually got to like debark day, and it wasn't like, all right, cool, that was a fun cruise, I'm ready to go home now. Like, you know, debarkation day, I was like, actually, like, I could stay on for another week if I really wanted to. Like, I'd love to stay on for another week, which is kind of you just, I don't know. It's not that I'm always like, oh, I want to get off of this thing so bad, but it is something where, yeah, exactly. You mentally check out. And you're like, all right, time to go home. Time to go home, type of thing.
I could have done it 7 days, no doubt.
Yes, but the debarkation process itself, I thought it was very smooth, quick, efficient, really no issues.
And getting to the Brightline station was very easy, actually. It was like a kind of reverse embark day.
It was almost reverse of embark day, because we called an Uber as we were like walking through the gangway, I think, and the Uber was there waiting on us as soon as we walked out. So we, from our room, well, we had to wait a little bit for us to be cleared or anything like that. So that's not really but like once the line started moving, from the line moving,
it was moving
to the Brightline station, I want to say it was like a total of like 20-25 minutes to get to the Brightline station from the main lobby, which is pretty impressive.
Crazy.
Very quick. Everything worked. Obviously, it's just a scan and go, get out. But I think it all worked really well.
Agreed.
I mean, I'd say 10.
10?
Personally, I don't know a problem. I don't have a problem.
10. Alrighty. So, as I tally up our scores, any final thoughts or any just like opinions about the ship that you guys really liked, disliked, and just like overall experience?
I loved it. I had a great time. You know, everybody says, "Oh, you went on one, so you had a great time." Well, I went on the exact same thing probably 3 weeks earlier and had a great time there too. So it wasn't just a fluke. I think Norwegian's doing some things right, some things wrong. I'd sail on it again in a heartbeat. I'm very excited for Aura. Very jealous you guys are on one of the first sailings.
You can
come. You can join us.
Don't tempt me with a good time like that. Don't do it.
You should. We had a blast on this cruise. You really should, though.
I would love for you to come.
I'll text Anne-Marie right now.
Okay, stop it.
Anyways, but no, I absolutely agree. I think
it was great.
This was one of the most fun experiences I've had on a cruise in like a long time. Again, just everything about the ship, everything about the cruise, from the ship itself, the crew, the food, just having a good week with the boys, like everything about this cruise just top notch.
Fantastic.
Norwegian definitely made a lot of improvements with the Prima class, with the Luna here, of course. And I think they have a lot of good things going their way. And I'm really excited to see what Aura has to offer as well.
I am ecstatic for Aqua and Luna. I loved Luna. I mean, not Aqua and Aura. Luna was amazing. It was one of my favorite ships of all time.
Yeah, I agree. Which is pretty impressive, because my favorite ships of all time are the Icon and Oasis class ships. So the fact that
it's up there,
it's up there with it and almost tied. Yes.
And they're polar opposite ships, by the way. Polar opposites. And I love that. I think it's so awesome.
I agree.
Hi, Bill.
All right, Brandon, what's the score? Give us the...
So, to no surprise, this is our new number 1 reviewed ship of the year.
There we go.
As to no surprise, out of 10, what would you guys give this? Or I guess out of 100, what would you guys give this before I give you the full score?
I'm insane. I'd give it a 95 or like a 94.
I was going to
93.
say, I do like 92, 93. I mean, there's some things that they could work on. So,
okay, Dimitri, you were spot on. We got a 92.5 with our score. This is our first ever 90. And again, as we said at the beginning of the podcast, the way we structure our reviews, it is very, very difficult to get a 90. So, and that's not, just the way it's structured. So you got to get a lot of 10s and a lot of 9s to even get a 90 out of here. So, the Norwegian Luna is a fantastic ship and definitely our best reviewed ship of the year. And well deserved, I think. It really sums up what sums up. We had a fantastic time on the ship, and very much deserving of a 92.
Now let's recap. What's our overall scores right now?
So our number 2 on the list is the Norwegian Aqua at an 84. So this blew everything out of the water. We have the Aqua at 84, Grandiosa at an 83, the Norwegian Star at an 82, and the Explorer of the Season an 80. So this blew just about everything out of the water. Metaphorically, of course.
Oh, yeah. I loved it.
Yeah.
I thought Luna was fantastic. I'm excited for Aura, and I can't wait for Dimitri to be there with us.
Yeah. Nothing but great things. Yeah, I can't wait for you to come.
Dude, it's gonna be awesome. Made a voyage from Miami.
Nothing but great things from the Norwegian Luna. I at least in my opinion, from all three of us, I think we can all say we highly recommend the ship. And Norwegian, keep doing what you're doing, and we hope it all continues. And looking forward to a good time on Norwegian Aura next year.
Yep.
Sounds good.
So with that, thank you all for watching, listening, wherever you are, whether you're here on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening or watching. Thank you all so much for hanging out to this point. Hope you enjoyed our review. We had a review of the MSC Seaside coming up very, very soon. And of course, Harmony of the Seas as well. Caleb and I will be sailing on Harmony here in a little under 2 weeks. So a lot of stuff coming soon. Podcasts are coming back, I promise. But with that, thank you all for listening and watching, and we will see you in the next one.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, chat.
Peace.